edition of What We're Reading. Today, I have Ellen with me, and my name is Anne, and we're both at the Centennial Library. And today we're going to be talking about our nonfiction picks that we're reading right now. Ellen?
Okay, well, first of all, I am reading one of my favorite authors, Eric Larson, who is an American author who writes, most of his books are called narrative nonfiction. He's written bios, he's written other kinds of books, but usually sticks in that genre. This is an absolutely fascinating book. It was published this year, and what I find fascinating about him is the research that he does. This is an intimate chronicle of Winston Churchill and the British people during the London Blitz in 1940. It's his first year as Prime Minister, and it's a very trying year for the country because Germany is going to try to take over England because they've taken over most of the other European countries. What it is, even there were 51 days of bombings during the London Blitz. 45,000 Britons lost their lives. But what this is a lesson that Winston Churchill taught his people in the art of being fearless. It was a horrible time for them, but they weren't taken over by the Germans, and they survived and they won. And as I mentioned, Eric Larson's research is phenomenal, whether it was this book, the Dead Wake, The Last Crossing of the Lusitania, The Devil in the White City, Isaac's Storm, Thunderstruck, In the Garden of the Beasts. Every single book that he's written has pages in back of all the research that he's done. He's gotten into family archives, and most of the people during the times that he's covered were real good about keeping diaries and writing letters, so he uses a lot of those in his research too. But this is definitely another book that I would recommend. It's called The Splendid and the Vile by Eric Larson.
So does that just cover Churchill's first year?
Yes.
Or, okay, so not the entire World War II?
No, basically what it is, it's almost like a diary day by day of what's happening to keep the Germans at bay so they don't take over the country.
Yeah. So. And I've read some other of Eric Larson's. I've read Devil in the White City, and what's always surprising for me is, especially for nonfiction, is he has actual conversations that he's taken from letters, which you don't see a lot of time in nonfiction writing.
Yeah. No.
And it really adds something to it, the story.
And because a lot of people say, well, how could he possibly know what anybody has said? But because they were diarists, they were people who actually kept diaries. That was their job. Mm-hmm. And they all wrote letters, and they all kept all the letters. They kept everything. So the research for a book like this wasn't easy because he spent a lot of time doing it, but he had a lot of good resources.
For sure.
So,
yeah. He's a very, very popular author. All of his novels are usually bestsellers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who would you recommend that book to? Anyone in particular? Any kind
of? History buffs, people who follow Churchill, because you're really learning about what kind of person Churchill was. You know, a blustery, very fiery person who wanted to protect the people of the UK. Right. And he managed to do it. But he would make a speech that would have so many negative things in it, but because of his enthusiasm, people just, gave that hurrah. and he, as it said, he taught them the art of being fearless, even though so many lives had been lost during the 51 nights of the Blitz. Mm-hmm. But they survived.
Awesome.
They survived.
Yeah.
I just like his writing, and I think it would be a good book for anyone.
He's a very detailed writer.
Yeah.
Very, very into all of the details on all of his books. I know for Devil in the White City, it was about a murderer, and so that one had some kind of explicit parts in it, and that some people a little bit gruesome. anything like that in this one?
So far, no, but you know,
It is about a war.
It's about a war. It's about, you know, the Nazis taking over most of Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, I haven't gotten that far as any Holocaust things, but probably not. But it was a gruesome time.
Right.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was, and it couldn't have been too much. You know, it had to be a horrible time having to go into the shelters as soon as they heard the air raid sirens,
Mm-hmm.
and keeping the lights out and making sure everything was covered so no lights were showing through dark curtains, and keeping the lights out. It was not a good time. This was about 51 days of the London Blitz.
Yeah.
So
So if you haven't read any nonfiction and you kind of are interested in it, if you read a lot of historical fiction already and want to dive into something like this might be a good
This would
segue
be
into nonfiction titles.
I think so. The
Yeah.
Splendid and the Vile by Eric Larson.
Yeah, I enjoy memoirs. I like memoirs a lot, and that's usually what I pick for nonfiction. In particular, this is one I've read. Came out a few years ago. It's called Shrill by Lindy West. Now, Lindy West is a feminist. She is also a writer. You can see her stuff in the New Yorker and some other publications like that. And I think they made a television series on Hulu after the same title. And so this is just a memoir about her life, her growing up as an overweight child and as an overweight adult, and how she's dealt with those issues being in the public eye. So it was a very interesting read, even though she talks about like really a lot of heavy issues. It was actually kind of funny sometimes too, so that's always nice. She does talk about a lot of internet trolls and stuff of her writings, and so like she's had death threats. She's had one of the really horrible stories in here is where one person who was impersonating her dead father on Twitter. Yeah, someone did that to her, and how she responds to that. That, and you know, obviously is very emotional for her to handle, and that was just, yeah. And a lot of times she goes and she talks to the people who were saying nasty things about her online. She actually contacted them and had phone conversations with them. And some of people were like, well, this is how you made me feel. Like real honest discussions.
Okay, good for her, because usually someone would ignore those and just go on.
So, and some people changed their minds, some people didn't. But she felt that she should reach out to them and see exactly why they're being so nasty to her.
Okay.
So, it's not for everyone, definitely. She is very out with her opinions, and it does have a lot of language in it, but I enjoyed it.
I like what the title says, though. It's shrill, but notes from a loud
Notes
woman.
from a loud woman, yes.
She's honest.
She is honest. Yeah, I did listen to this, and she actually reads it, which was great. Sometimes you'll have authors who read their books and it's just not the best, but hers was actually really good. She does have another one that came out this year called The Witches Are Coming. I have not read this one, but it is her second one.
Good. Two different recommendations here.
Very, very different.
Yes.
So we have stuff for everybody. If you're looking for nonfiction picks, we have a lot available here at the library for sure, no matter what your interests are. I hope that maybe some of these piqued your interest and you're going to check them out. If you do, let us know how you enjoy them. Any other comments?
No, I think that's about it. Good.
So thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next time. Thanks.